Hi, I'm Kymberley Carter-Paige and I'm a coach and clinical hypnotherapist. I teach people how to take back their minds from the programs that have been installed in them. I hope that you can stay with me for the next 15 minutes where I can offer you some tools for a calmer life.
Kim, for this last one in this part of our series, I wanted to bring in Doris the dog because she's so delightful, for one thing, and she's such a character. But the second part is I want to talk about things that make humans feel intrinsically powerful. And I think there are two things that stand out. I'm sure you'll have many others. But for me, the standouts are the ability to say no when you really want to say no and to back that up, no matter the pressure on you, no matter the manipulation on you, no matter the abuse that comes your way, to say no. But the other thing is the power of pets, of animals that we love. So let's begin with the power of no. What is it that it does to somebody who's been abused previously when they find, through working with you with the hypnotherapy, their innate ability to feel inside themselves and say, in this situation, I want to say no, and no matter the cost, I will say no? What does that do to someone's self-esteem?
Well, it puts them back in power, and that's it. With everything they've experienced, they've been powerless. They've had no control, or they feel they've had no control. And a lot of the time when we go back, when they're in a relaxed state, we can see that actually they were in control to a certain extent. I had a classic example where I had a client that wouldn't leave the house. She was, too scared to go out because she'd had a home invasion. She'd woken up in the night, 3-year-old was in bed, to find somebody coming up the stairs, trying to rob the house or whatever, and it frightened her so much that she just would never leave the house. And I actually went to her house for her first few sessions to help her with her agoraphobia. And I remember when we went down into that real level, once she'd got used to being relaxed, and I took her back to that stage and I said, okay, so just take myself back and tell me what's happening. She said, he's coming up the stairs. And I said, and what are you doing? And she said, I'm shouting at him, get out my house. And I said, and what did he do? And she said, he left. I said, what, did he run away like a frightened little rabbit? I said, who was in control? And she went, I never looked at it that way. So suddenly she was in control. It was safe for her to do things because she helped. She sorted herself out. She saved her daughter. She saved herself. But for some reason, the subconscious had seen it as in, you were powerless. You can't leave the house now in case it comes back, or he goes. So the whole story was just flipped in that short moment, and suddenly she was the one that's saying no. And she decided, I said, you can say, no, I'm not going to be controlled. I'm going to leave the house because I'm safe. Or you can just stay in that place and go, okay, I'll listen. I'll just be too frightened to go anywhere. So it's with anything. Once you say no the first time,
Yes.
then the second time's easier.
Mm.
But it's understanding that you are not responsible for everybody's happiness. So if you are expected to do something that doesn't feel right for you, that is solely for someone else's benefit, and you've given and given and given and given, at what point are you going to say, I deserve to say no?
Mm.
And it is about you saying, I deserve respect. I deserve to feel safe. I deserve whatever it is, and saying, so therefore, no.
It's so good to hear that story. I mean, it does tie into the COVID-19 era when it was played upon all of us. You must be decent. You must do this to save the old people. You must do it for being a good citizen of New Zealand or of the world. And it was such blatant manipulation. I mean, blatant to the point that afterwards, when we put up the Barry Young people's data from the Ministry of Health, a lot of people who'd gone along with Jacinda Ardern wrote things like, oh, it's only old people dying. And I tried in the early days to say, but you're the ones who are manipulating us to take the jab to save the old people.
Yeah.
Now you don't care that they're dying. So often it involves manipulation, and often people are afraid that if I say no, I won't be approved of, I won't be liked,
Yes.
I won't be part of the herd. So no is 2 letters can change the whole state of your being within a society, can't it?
Definitely. And it's about self-respect. It's respecting yourself and your needs and your barriers as well, and saying, no, I'm not going to accept this, but also for your family, your children, and looking at the bigger picture. I mean, I was a nightmare at school because they had the rules, and if I could see that they weren't necessary, nobody was going to get hurt, I would break them. And they'd say to me, you know, what did you do? And I'd go, well, nobody died. You know, what? I don't see why you've got this rule. And so I've always been, you know, a non-compliant rule breaker. And when you start to do that, other people will look and go, yeah, she's right, nothing happened. Why are we behaving like, why are we putting up with that? And more people will, you know, come in behind you, and they have to change the rules because nobody's adhering to it. But it only takes one. So how powerful do you feel if you're that one to stand up for something that can protect loads of other people or children or animals or anything? If you see somebody, going back to the animals, hurting a dog, are you just going to let them do it? There's no way I would. You know, I would just say no. And that's all it takes. And then someone else would probably come along and stand by you. Because again, it's building that, well, she's strong enough to say no, I'm going to say no as well. So it's building that resilience up for everybody to stand together. And the more of us that say it, the less chance they've got of getting anything through.
How has your line of work helped clients that you've had, and particularly young children or young people, build that resilience? Does hypnotherapy help with that?
It does. Children are quite good at saying no. We lose that ability as we get older because
It's
we
scratched out
become
of us.
the people pleaser.
Yes.
You know, and there's,
Where does that come from? People pleasing. What is that?
well, it's a lot of it is when you're brought up being told to be polite, to be friendly, to
Be a good girl.
you know, be a good girl. And but then at what point do you be a good girl when there's abuse? You know, and again, that's hard for children when an uncle, someone they know, is doing something that doesn't feel right, but they don't want to be rude and say no. So again, we really need to teach our children that in some instances you're absolutely right to say no, and where those boundaries are, because we just assume they would know, but they don't. So it's again saying your body autonomy, you have to say no. If anybody wants to go anywhere near there, it is always a no.
And that includes jabs.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, anything.
But I think in Program 3, we also tied that in with parents of children saying, I will always listen to you.
Yes.
If you come and say, I need you to listen to me, I will put everything down, the screens, the food, the writing I'm doing, whatever I'm doing, and I will turn to you and give you full attention. And you said something else so significant. You said, tell your child, I will always believe you.
Yes. And I read somewhere, or did I see it somewhere, that there was a safe word that you could use, that the parent and child could use, that when I say this word, it means I want to tell you something, but I don't want you to judge me.
Beautiful.
So that they're telling you something they need to tell you, but you're not allowed to go, well, you shouldn't have.
Yes.
They're allowed to finish everything they need to say and feel safe to say it to you, knowing that there's not going to be any judgment.
What would be a word that would come to mind for you?
We'd probably use Beano, because when we were in the UK, we had a dog called Beano, and I had a safe word for anybody picking the children up from school, because you used to get, you know, people taking children that, you know, saying, mum's in hospital, she's asked me to pick you up. And my daughter, my oldest daughter, did use it once, where somebody said, oh, mum's asked me to pick you up. And she said, what's the password?
That's very clever.
And he just, what? And she said, what's the password? And then she just ran back into the school. So that's really important to have something like that. Again, it's putting systems in place, you know, to protect your children and your family. And a safe word even between, you know, couples. If there's a point where the argument's getting too bad, where you can have a safe word that allows you to stop, walk away, take a breather, and then come back in a calm way to talk about it because things get too heated. And one of them, then the male or the female, will shut down and not say what they want to say because it's just got too, loud or too uncomfortable. Whereas if you use the safe word, then you can both take a breather and come back and go, okay, right, so what was it we need to talk about? So you've both calmed down and you're ready to discuss it in a more
That's a
rational way.
gorgeous idea. I mean, even with even with those scams that are on the phones, there's been a scam going around New Zealand, which is, "Hey, mum, I've lost my phone. Can you help me?" So I've had that from, I don't know, numerous sources, and each one I'll go, "Which child of my 10 children is this?" But I think Beano is a really nice word. That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
All right. So the second thing, saying no just makes somebody feel really powerful. But I think what makes somebody also feel powerful and happy and loved is having a pet. What is it about having a pet? Yeah.
I guess because they're so funny. Doris, come.
They make
so
you laugh.
funny, and they're unconditional love. As I say to people that are looking for the perfect relationship, if you want unconditional love, get a dog. Because they're never going to judge you. And one of my clients said, he said, I always say, if you lock your wife and your dog in the boot of the car and go and play golf, when you open the boot, which one's happy to see you? It'll be the dog.
I love that. But I think even what you're doing there, just stroking an animal,
Yes.
what does that do you think, we've talked a lot in this series about the subconscious. What does it do to relax the nervous system when you stroke a cat or a dog, do you think?
It's immediately calming, and it's the vibration that they give off is one of calm. It's like as a child having a cuddly toy, isn't it? That you can just stroke and just immediately feel calm. But there's so many brilliant videos now on TikTok and Instagram where, if you're feeling really, really low, and you can just put one of those of dogs doing the craziest things, or cats, being frightened of cucumbers and things like that, just to make you laugh, just to raise your vibration. Even if it's just for 10 minutes, it can completely change that your emotional feeling and help you to manage those hard times. But yes, dogs are great.
I agree with you. And I think we might finish this little clip on this piece. It's so lovely. I'd never thought of this, a rooster with a dead chicken. And the rooster clearly loves this chicken. It's quite extraordinary. I mean, we looked at it this morning, and my partner said to me, well, love is love.
Yeah.
Love is love.
Yeah.
And we are all sentient beings, and we're all capable of feeling love. I think it's been so loving talking to you through this series, and we want to do more on another day. We'll continue this because I think these small bites of hope and understanding are what will really feed the soul. Kim, what would you like to come from this series that we're doing?
I would like to let people know that they can take back control, however bad things seem at the time. And, and I understand there's so much suffering going on, but you can find that little silver lining, even if it's just right here, right now, for this very moment. And then the more you do that, the bigger it will become. And then once you begin to feel that you can come out of that overwhelm, that you can see that there are some good things happening, that you can take control of some parts of your life, then that will just steamroller, and then you'll be able to be creative, you'll be able to create a better future, you'll be able to stand on your own 2 feet and be more resilient, and then life will just flow easier. But all the time you're just focusing on this pain, this physical, this emotional, this entrapment, and feeling like you have no control, then nothing's going to change. We have to slowly unwind. And the more we unwind, the more powerful we become. We meet other people that are powerful, that are beginning to stand on their own 2 feet. And that's when we change the world.
It's beautiful, Kim. I'm going to add this. Last year, I was pursued by a group of trolls for over 10 months. Trolls and brutes and bullies, and I don't need to name them. People who know will know who they are. And it was a very dark time, and my work with you really helped me survive that time, and it helped unlock the things that were locking me down. So to anybody who's ever experienced online bullying, liars, cheats, unethical people, and we've had that from our governments, but we've also had it online from brutish people, a lot of New Zealanders. I really recommend your work personally, and I wanted to add that in at the end of this initial series. There will be more. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you. It's been lovely.